Most of us are familiar with the tale of Noah and the flood. For those of you who aren't, here's a quick recap. God is mad at humanity and decides to wipe us all out by flooding the earth. The only person God doesn't seem to hate is Noah. So he warns Noah of the impending flood. God orders Noah to build an ark, providing specific instructions about the dimensions and materials to be used. In the ark, Noah is to gather his family and 2 of every animal. Noah does as he is told. He builds the ark, gathers his family, and marches all the animals on board 2 by 2. Then it starts to rain. God makes it rain for 40 days and 40 nights, flooding the earth. Noah, his family, and the animals he'd gathered are the only survivors. After the rains had stopped, Noah released a raven, which never returned. 7 days later, Noah released a dove, which returned having found nothing to land on. 7 days after that, Noah released the dove again. This time it returned with a sprig of olive. Another 7 days, and Noah released the dove. It never returned. Another 7 days, and Noah released the dove one last time. It never returned. Noah knew this meant the dove had found land. The waters subsided, the ark landed in a mountain, Noah and his family and the animals left the ark, and God promised never to flood the earth again. And he left us the rainbow as a sign of this covenant. Neat story, yes? But what if it's not just a story? What if I were to tell you that this story shows up across numerous cultures, spaced across much of the world? We find a similar tale in one of the oldest myths recorded, the Atrahasis, a Sumerian myth written on clay tablets more than 1,000 years before the story of Noah, around 1800 BCE. The myth tells how Atrahasis, the hero of the story, was warned by the god Enki of the goddess Enlil's plan to flood the earth. In this version, it was not man's wickedness that drove the gods to flood the earth. It was simply an attempt to control the human population, which they thought was growing out of control. Enki also tells Atrahasis to build an ark, and gives him almost the exact same instructions, even down to the materials and dimensions. Atrahasis builds the ark, boards it with his family and a bunch of animals, and survives the flood. The story is found again in the Babylonian Epic of Gilgamesh, written 8 centuries later, also on clay tablets. Here the similarities to Noah run even deeper. Like before, a god, Ea this time, tells the hero Unapchin to build a massive ark and bring into it all his family and all the animals of the field. The gods then flood the earth to punish humans for their sinful ways. The storm lasts for 6 days and 6 nights and wipes out the rest of the human race. Like Noah, Umnapchin gets stuck on a mountain. Like Noah, he releases birds, first a dove, then a sparrow, then a raven. The first 2 return quickly. When the raven does not return, he knows it is safe to leave the ark. The goddess Enlil promises never to flood the earth again, and rewards Unapchin with eternal life. Thus it seems like we've been telling the story of the flood, as a species, for almost 4,000 years. Most interpret this similarity as evidence that the Noah story is very old and was borrowed from earlier cultures. This is probably true. But that does not explain the fact that a great flood features in the mythology of almost every ancient culture. The Greek author Hesiod wrote of a flood, and it is mentioned in several ancient Hindu texts. Even the distant Mayans had their own unique flood myths. Now I can understand Greeks and Indians retelling a story they heard from a Babylonian, but how on earth would the Maya on the other end of the world have known the story as well? Well, that returns us to our earlier question. What if it's not just a story? What if there actually was a flood sometime in our history, but so long ago that the accounts survive only in myth? Some scholars believe they have found just such a flood. When we look back in the geological record, we find around 8,200 years ago, 6,400 BCE, global temperatures dropped drastically. Scientists believe this sudden drop in temperature